On that note, let's talk about the tournament, what we got going on, and some of the teams that are going in right now, Syracuse, UB. What do you see the brackets breaking down as?
So Syracuse, I think them and UB got a pretty good initial draw. I mean, Syracuse, Baylor is a team that is without their best guy in terms of points, rebounds, block shots, Tristan Clark. He's not there. That's a big deal because without him, Flo Thamba and company up front for Baylor, they do not have a lot. They're going to make guys like Pascal Chukwu look like an offensive maestro, which for many games this year, he has not looked as such. They don't shoot the three well outside the top 200. That is going to be great for the Orange Blanket defense. I like them in that first game. I think they'll have some success against that. UB, I know they're playing the first 4 game, but they got a great draw as well. Whether it's going to be Arizona State, St. John's, I think that's a great draw because those are very backcourt-based teams. And what I think UB does better than maybe any team in the country is backcourt defense, on-ball defense, suffocating, getting the other way, and transition scoring. It's Dante Carruthers. You mentioned a Bishop Kearney guy. Dante Carruthers, East High, unbelievable defensively, steals and the like. Devontae Jordan is also a very good defensive guy for them. I like their first draws, but in that second game, it might be a little bit more difficult.
This is when we can like college basketball, right?
Yeah.
Watch me get him all fired up here.
All season long.
All season long. I talk about, some things that are just lacking. But what's not lacking in the tournament is the competition and the one and done in every game, which makes it, that is what makes it so different. It's closest to the NFL that way, right? You get one game and you advance or you don't. And now the fact that Matt and I have talked about this a lot, where when we used to look at the brackets and 5-12, remember that was the big upset. Now you don't seem all that fazed if a 14 wins or if a 12 or a 13. Like we see how close these teams really are. Now that being said, this tournament might be a little more top heavy because those ACC teams have been so good during the year. And if it ends up as the 1s and the 2s, so be it. But I think the idea of these few weeks and knowing that legitimately there are teams in that lower bracket that maybe can't win 6 games, but they can beat almost anybody, I think, is what makes it great.
Well, it's so funny you bring up the one and done. Tuesday night, the playing game was at Prairie View and Fairleigh Dickinson.
Right.
No pull. I'm just watching the game to see what. By the end of the game, I'm literally on the edge of my bed. I got both my hands on my shoulder.
You're right. You're right. It's what makes it fun. It's what I say about the baseball playoffs. When they talk about that one game thing and, in the wild card, if you're a fan of that team, you are panicked in that game. But to everybody else, it brings them in. And that's with the NCAA tournament. Every game the loser is done.
And as a Pirates fan, I can definitely attest to that because they play in it almost every year and they don't usually do well.
Well, it's different, too, because it makes you be a baseball fan again. It's kind of fun to watch a game and not have a vested interest in it and just sit back and enjoy the game.
Well, because you're not a Fairleigh Dickinson fan.
Well, I'm fairly a Dickinson fan.
Oh, well played.
Thank you. No, but I do have a bad habit of getting too invested in teams that I don't care about, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a tradition every year of going out with a buddy the first weekend and just drinking our faces off and watching all the games throughout the day. And I will, in every game, decide I'm going to follow this team. And again, by the end of the game, I'm screaming at the television. I'm like making obscene gestures at people that were cheering for the other team.
And all of a sudden all their players.
Absolutely.
You're mad at the coach,
but
questioning strategy.
Every single beer, I'm a little bit better when it comes to what defense they should be running at that moment.